What's up, everybody? My name's Big Cam and welcome back to another Marvel 1/6 scale collectible figure unboxing and review. And today we have a very special Hot Toys Deadpool and Wolverine figure, and I wasn't expecting to unbox these figures this week. I actually had plans to do something else because this would be figure 90 weekend, and I was going to do one figure to hit the 90, and then I was maybe going to do a collection tour video. But then I had two figures come in over the weekend that I had bought and pre-ordered a long time ago, and I wasn't expecting them to arrive. And now we have the TVA jacket Wolverine, which is the battling damaged shirtless Wolverine, but for some reason they had to stick a TVA jacket on the poor bastard. But you can see the orange claw marks cutting up top, the picture of Hugh Jackman on the front there. Not figure photography, just a shot from the film. And yeah, not too much going on. MMS 756 for TVA jacket Wolverine. Legal information around the back, a Deadpool Wolverine, or just a Deadpool logo in the back there. Little bullet casings all over the place. Yeah, nothing too much going on. So let's slide off the top of this, take our first peek at the figure. Oh boy. Oh, he comes with a battle damaged mask. Unfortunately, I think he can't wear it, which is like, come on, y'all, really? But the pants look really good. It's all covered in plastic, so I'm gonna have to take it up out of the box. But you can see the Deadpool Wolverine best friends badge there. He's got Boom on the side, a Deadpool logo, claw marks, a little Deadpool on a unicorn. Always love to see that. Ooh, that could be figure photography on the back there with the Deadpool Wolverine logo with the claws coming through it. Snicked. Another unicorn, Deadpool thumbs up. Boom. Looks like Wolverine and Deadpool on the side of the box running. Skull and crossbones. More X-Men logos, more Deadpool logos. Very cool. But let's not waste any more time, y'all. Let's pull this figure up out of the box so I can get my first in-person look at this figure. And then we'll take a nice up-close and personal look for you guys at home. You know, it's funny. I had somebody comment a while ago, and he hasn't commented again, but he commented, show the camera. And I was like, watch the video. Because my reviews are all kind of the same. I take my first look at the figure in person, and then I get nice up and close and personal, and I show you guys at home, and I lay out all the things on the desk here, so if you guys are impatient, just skip ahead a little bit and get into the figure review, because first we talk about the box, then we take it out of the box, and then I get to put it in my hands and see what old Wolvie's looking like. Take off the plastic on the bad boy. Ooh, he's got a little bit of a bloody stained head sculpt. TVA jacket on. I'm gonna have to unzip that bad boy in a moment. But yeah, I feel like the other Wolverine had more cake. No? It is what it is. But the pants, oof, the pants are so soiled and like battle damaged, and like whoever had like the time to weather these pants must have had the time of their lives. But like I said, there is a Wolverine mask that, excuse me, almost dropped it. But the battle damaged Wolverine mask that looks absolutely incredible cannot be put on the figure, and it doesn't have like a little port to be able to put on the other figures. So what I'm thinking is because I have two Wolverines, I'm thinking eventually I'm going to take one of those Wolverines and try to fully battle damage the whole thing and try to recreate what they did on my own and do like a little bit of a custom. And I guess that's the only real option you got to try and make it as battle damaged as they did. But also that would become real risky, because then you could have the chance of ruining the figure, right? So I'm very glad I grabbed this figure, but come on, Hot Toys, you should have made it so that this can be worn by one of the figures, or even him, like there in the scene that he is shirtless, he does wear the mask, and just the mask, right? He doesn't have anything else on. And also, the only other gripe with this figure that I've seen is that it's like a full seamless body, but the wrist pegs are very noticeable, which is going to be a pain in the ass, but I'm going to try my best to cover those up. Maybe I'll grab a watch or something and cover it over his wrist, but it isn't the biggest deal in the world. Hopefully your pose will be able to draw your attention away from the wrist pegs and just onto everything else. But yeah, not too much going on here. It looks like we got like a filing cabinet, a bloody sword, a couple of hands, some claws hands, of course, Gotta have claw hands. Only claw fist hands though, not claws in any other shape or form though. Interesting. And like the other figure, it had gloves so that you could put the claws on whatever hands you want. I would have wanted maybe some more claw hands, or if you were gonna give us just one set of claw hands, why not just make this a seamless fucking figure and not give us swap out hands and just make it seamless, fully seamless figure? I think I would like that more than the options of switching out the hands. Like, if this guy was fully seamless, oh, the poses I'd be able to get off and just how perfect he'd look. He'd be a centerpiece for sure. And once I take off this TVA jacket, I think he might still be a centerpiece in my collection. But what we're gonna do now though is take out all of his accessories here, lay them out on the desk in front of me, and take a closer look at everything that the TVA jacket Wolverine has to offer. And also instructions down below. Don't forget to read those so you know what's going on with your figure. But let's jump into the accessories segment. All right, everybody. We have TVA Jacket Wolverine sitting in front of us here with all of his accessories. And we'll go over that figure in a moment, although he's looking good. But that jacket does look like something doesn't belong on that outfit, and it's that jacket, because the pants, the boots, and like even the body, which I haven't necessarily taken my first peek at yet. I've been waiting to zip off that jacket to take my first peek, but it is definitely thick under there, so we'll definitely be taking off that jacket in a moment. But just to take a look at the hands he comes with in the base that he comes with, the claw hands, nothing too special going on there, just a couple of fist hands that are, you know, have the plastic claws. He's got a couple of like grabbing hands, a couple of sword holding hands, or maybe cowl holding hands to be able to hold that cowl, because you can't put it on the figure. And then these are the sword holding hands for the one bloody katana that he comes with, which I will definitely be giving to Deadpool as his one bloody katana and be using that for a pose. But it's interesting that this came as an accessory with Wolverine but not with Deadpool. But hey, maybe it's supposed to be like a selling point for this figure, like, hey, get the TVA jacket Wolverine and you can get a bloody katana for Deadpool, and maybe that will be something that people buy this figure for. But me personally, I'm just glad it's thrown in there as an accessory, and it's kind of cool, and it's, you know, still plastic, but at least it looks like it's bloodied sword, so, you know, Deadpool can be in the middle of a fight all bloodied. Then I haven't opened these up yet, but it looks like there's a couple of different papers and flyers and stuff that are supposed to be from this filing cabinet that got all cut up. And then this filing cabinet comes with a loose shelf that you can kind of slide in there, but not really. And then a sliced up shelf, you know, claw marks on all sides of this thing, claw marks down the front. I believe you're supposed to pose this like, you know, like that or something, and, you know, let him stand on it maybe, or like, you know, just be off to the side. It does feel like it has a dent in the bottom to the touch. It's a big old dent right there. So I don't know what this is necessarily for or from. You know, I don't remember him slicing up a filing cabinet in the movie, but hey, you know, a little set dressing. It does look pretty properly weathered and cut apart, but still weird angle. So, you know, you're going to have it like at these weird angles to be able to display it. I don't know. You'll find a way to do it. But it comes with that shelf, and then it comes with this battle damaged mask that looks absolutely awesome. But it comes with that foam padding underneath there, which, you know, most people will probably take off. But still, you know, it's a shame that this can't be worn by the figure. You know, like, why wouldn't you throw in a little face plate, or at least make it compatible with the other Wolverine head sculpts so that you can actually use this? But I don't know, maybe they have a plan for the future to be, you know, have a fully battle damaged Wolverine. But I feel like this was supposed to be the battle damaged Wolverine, and then Disney made them toss on a jacket. But like, you know, the weathering matches the pants. But I said it earlier in the video, maybe I'll take my second Wolverine figure that I have and try to paint it the same way that they did, and do my own battling weathering pass on it, and try to make like a fully bloodied cowl that I can use, you know, and not have to use this one. But you can see little scratches on it, and blood marks and smears, and, you know, all types of stuff. A big splat on the back of his head. I don't know how he got that, but yeah, lots of battling damage, and I wish you could use this, but I think it's meant to just sit on top of like that or like on that, or just be held in his hands by one of those hands down there. Looking at the base, not too much, a little grade up top here, but it isn't the sturdiest because I believe it's hollow underneath here. And in some of the other bases, they have like a little drawer right here, but not this one. But I believe these legs extend out so you can, you know, have the base be taller than it is, which, you know, might as well pull them all out. And they are pretty tight. Oh, but oh, Jesus Christ. So it looks like there's multiple heights that you can adjust them to. I might just leave mine like that, just a little bit higher than the rest. But, you know, and then he has this big block. And then, of course, a crotch grabber, which is always the best for the poses. I think at least, you know, the waist grabbers might damage the figures. It's never a good idea. Did they have to include TVA jacket on the front there? Probably not. They could have just probably put Wolverine, but I get it. It is the TVA jacket figure, but nobody's going to be displaying this figure with the TVA jacket. Let's be real. But just to look at the TVA jacket itself, and it's not the best quality, you know, it's picking up lint or whatever, but it is like this navy bluish color. It's got black cuffs around either wrist, around the bottom towards the waist, and as well around the neck with the orange cuff around the neck there. And yeah, not too much going on, and we will take another look at this figure in a moment once we take this jacket off. But yeah, nothing too much else going on. Some nice vein worked hands. So taking a look at that head sculpt and those teeth, is the dentures inside that teeth look wrong to you, or is that just me? You know, it maybe looks wrong, but maybe not. In person, you can't necessarily notice, but on camera, those teeth look weird, don't they? But he does have that same type of head sculpt from the other figures, but there's a little bit more blood damage in the temple up there and, you know, on either side, a little bit of blood on his cheek, maybe somebody else's blood, because Wolverine does heal pretty quickly, but who knows, maybe he just got cut up a moment ago and he's healing, you know, in the process of healing. But yeah, not too much going on here. The hair looks really good. I love that it like flows in natural ways, just like Wolverine's hair would, but it still has the little spiked up corner bits, the natural Wolverine hairstyle, you know, like, even though it could be maybe even a little bit more, but you gotta have that little spiked up on the edges for Wolverine. It just is patented look, right? And down by the pants, you know, he's got these weather damaged pants. He's got a red belt buckle on front. He's got, you know, the blue stitching on the sides, really weather damaged. And I was like looking at this, I was like, oh wow, these are really battle damaged. But you could tell as the person was painting it, they had like paint on their hands, and where they were holding the figure, like where you would hold it right there is right where the most amount of blood and damage is. But hey, it's not the biggest deal. It still looks good, still battle damaged, and it's on the back side of the figure. But like you could tell like that was how they were doing it. They were definitely like holding this, and they had wet back here, and they were like, oh, just draw it in, make it more. But also, I'm pretty sure my other Wolverine figure had way more cake, and I'm positive Hugh Jackman has more cake. So where's that at? Come on, guys. Knee pads, boots, sculpted boots, so you can get forward, back, a little bit of ankle tilt. Yeah, love those boots. I'm glad that they're like, you know, one piece, but they still have plenty of articulation that you can use. Yeah, really cool looking figure. But I think the only thing to do now is take off this TVA jacket and take a peek at that undersuit, and maybe toss this bad boy into a couple of poses, and let's see what this Wolverine compares like next to the other Wolverines in my collection, as well as the other Wolverines from Deadpool and Wolverine. All right, everybody, we have TVA jacket Wolverine spinning around on the turntable for us here, just standing straight up and down, just as he comes fresh out of the box. But I unzipped that TVA jacket, because then we have naked Wolverine with the jacket off, and he's showing off those crazy abs and body, and there's little cut marks all over the body, but entirely medical silicone body, seamless shoulders. Now, I personally would have rather had seamless, you know, right down to the wrists, but at least they give you some swap out hands that you can pose up. But the figure itself looks incredible with those abs. And then I have him back to back with the clean suit Wolverine. So if you were trying to decide whether to get the TVA jacket shirtless Wolverine or just the clean suited Wolverine, both head sculpts almost the same, except this naked Wolverine, if you would, has a little bit of blood marks on the face, but both head sculpts look really good and both suits look really good. I wouldn't want to have one or the other. I definitely needed both in my collection. And then I have Wolverine posed up with his claws out, and he's holding the bloody katana, and he's got X-23 ready to pounce right in front of him. Another figure from the Deadpool Wolverine movie that just came out and will be unboxed tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. And then I have Wolverine with the clean cowl on, because you're not allowed to put the battle damaged cowl on the figure, but the clean cowl from the other Wolverine suit does fit on this body just fine. So if you wanted to have the shirtless Wolverine with the cowl, like he's doing that final scene of the movie where Like a Prayer's singing and they're saving the day, Deadpool and him, and Deadpool's looking at all those abs that he's got. And he's posed up with the battling version Deadpool from Deadpool and Wolverine. And then I have Wolverine posed up with Deadpool in a different kind of pose where he's got the bloody katana from Wolverine, and Wolverine's got the mask on still, and he's got the claws out ready to kill, and these two make a great team. And then my final pose that I have here that I'll probably put him on the shelf with the cabinet and the various different TVA files all over the base, and the battle damaged cowl on top of that filing cabinet that's all shredded up. And then you can see the biceps and the abs and the cut-ups on his chest there. And yeah, shirtless Wolverine. I'm definitely not going to be posing him and leaving him with the TVA jacket on. So this is what my Wolverine will look like in the collection going forward. But before we go and toss him on the shelf, why don't we toss him next to the other Wolverines in my collection and see how he sizes up against them? Oh, right. So we have now majority of my Wolverines on the desk in front of us here. You can see one is still in the background there next to Deadpool. But I figured I got two of these suits, and I already showed off that one in the posing segment. So here's the sleeveless battling damaged version with the battle damaged chest and shoulder pieces and arm gauntlets that have a little bit of battle damaged on them. But I really like the way that that figure looks, sleeved or sleeveless, and I figured gotta get two of them so you can get the Hugh Jackman head sculpt and then the cowled look. And I don't regret that at all, but maybe I wouldn't have gotten two of them if I knew that the shirtless TVA version was going to be coming out. So, you know, anybody that's wanting to take their pick of Deadpool Wolverine figures, say you're a brown and tan classic guy, or you're a yellow and blue guy, but maybe you wanted the battling damage version with the full medical silicone body with the abs out, you know, the blood all over the place. I really like the way that that figure looks, man, and I like that it has a base that makes him elevate above everybody else, just to show that, like, hey, I am better than you guys. I'm more money and I'm cooler. But we have 1973 X-Men Days of Future Past Wolverine with the bone claws on the far left there, and we have Patch Wolverine from So-So Toys, I believe, and that is another one of these cameos from that one scene in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. And I'm sure there will be more cameo Deadpools from that scene coming out, like the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine with the full, you know, wool hair and everything. So once that figure comes out, I will definitely be copping that to get alongside my other Wolverines in the collection here. And maybe this is too many Wolverines, and I actually have one more Wolverine from the Wolverine movie back in, what, 2013 or something like that. So, you know, it's safe to say I'm a big Hugh Jackman Wolverine guy. One of my top characters growing up. I mean, for me growing up in the early 2000s, for Marvel movies, there really wasn't a lot. You know, I didn't see Blade when I was 1, you know, so growing up, it was the X-Men movies, it was Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and it was Hulk. And it was like the 2003 Ang Lee Hulk, which I absolutely adored growing up. And, you know, just adore the character of Hulk in general. So for me, it was Hulk, it was Spider-Man, and it was Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. You know, as much as it was X-Men movies, I was there for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I wasn't really there for everybody else. But I did love Ian McKellen's Magneto as well. So, you know, hopefully more X-Men figures get Hot Toy figures in the future, and hopefully there's a whole lineup of X-Men from Avengers Doomsday coming up soon. You know, we know there's going to be a bunch of those in there, so hopefully these guys have some X-Men to go next to them soon. But why don't we go toss them on the shelf with the rest of the Deadpool and Wolverine figures I have in my collection and see how the new shelf is laid out and how that's looking. All right, y'all, so we have tossed naked Wolverine over here, jacked with his cut-up chest and his bloody arm and his biceps. When you turn the bicep, you can see that extra little muscle definition in there. I don't even know how they do that, but man, oh man, is that ab work and just the skin texture, the hair, I mean, everything just looks so sick on this figure, and down to the base with the extra battle damaged cowl and the little posters and stuff that it comes with decorating, and the base itself is like taller than everything else, so he stands out and he has a nice prominent spot in the middle there, and that feels right. And then I have my little Wolverine shrine next to him. There's the Wolverine that I didn't show earlier, but still one of my favorite Wolverines. I think one of my first Wolverines I got, but you can tell definitely one of the oldest head sculpts. And then the Days of Future Past one, the So-So Toys patch, the brown and tan suit Hot Toys. Yeah, I love that figure as well. Some people really hate on that expression, but when you get them into that particular pose, it just perfectly resembles the scene from the movie. And then now X-23 out in front of him. If you guys want to see her unboxing video, that comes out tomorrow. Stay tuned. And then she's next to Wolvie. Ladypool, Deadpool's in a new kind of pose where he's going for that gun. He's got the bloody katana from Wolverine. And, of course, I had to take out one katana from the sheath out back there, so that's working. Head pull of the shoulder, cable back there. And then I've just, to be able to fit these two guys, I had originally planned to move the shelf around entirely, but just to fit in X-23 and TVA jacket Wolverine, I slid over my other clean suit Wolverine and clean suit Deadpool with the TVA portal, the little TVA device, the Wolverine skeleton. So yeah, things are looking good for Deadpool and Wolverine. I really like how this shelf is coming out, and there's somehow still more Deadpool and Wolverine figures on its way, so maybe those extra Wolverine variants are going to have to get tossed off this shelf and somewhere else. Same with Cable over there, because I think I still have Nicepool, the Johnny Storm from Deadpool and Wolverine. There's going to be maybe Kidpool I'll have to grab, so that's at least 3 more there. We're still going to be getting Blade, I think, so that's 4, and then we might get Gambit and Elektra, so maybe 6 more figures, but 4 that have already been made. So I'm still waiting to get my Blade. I'm pretty sure that will ship soon, and same with Johnny Storm from Deadpool and Wolverine. But for now, this is what my Deadpool Wolverine collection is looking like. Thank you guys so much for stopping on by. I really appreciate everybody for clicking on this video, and I hope you enjoyed this TVA jacket Wolverine unboxing. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it down in the comment section below, or if you want to message me on my other social medias, links for those down in the description below. But thank you guys so much for clicking on this video and joining me. And if you've made it this far into the video and you would like to support the channel, the best way of doing that is liking this video, commenting down in the comment section below, subscribing if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that bell so you don't miss next weekend's Hot Toys figure unboxings, and you'll get the notifications when those come out. 2 figures every weekend. This is Saturday's figure unboxing, and tomorrow we will have X-23, so stay tuned for that, y'all, and I will see you beautiful folks in the next video. Peace!